What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Scotian Canadian studio. We have a lot to discuss here today. Going to try and breeze through it as quick as I can, but as always, get in on that discussion down in the comments. Let me know if I missed anything, and of course, give me your thoughts on any of the topics we're going to touch on here today. Hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoy these videos. We're going to talk Cole Caufield signing his entry-level deal. Going to give you a Laval Rocket update. Also going to talk more on Eric Staal and what he's going to bring the Habs on the ice, as well as some more trade discussion and a quick rundown of what's going on in the Canadian division right now. But let's get right into it. Cole Caufield, Montreal's first-round pick in the 2019 NHL entry draft at number 15, has put ink to paper. He's officially a Montreal Canadien. This is massive. He signs his NHL entry deal for 3 years with a cap hit of $880,000. The kid is for real. Before he was drafted in the U.S. development program, he shattered Austin Matthews and Phil Kessel's goal-scoring records. Then he gets drafted by us, goes to the NCAA with the Wisconsin Badgers. In his first year, 36 games played, 19 goals, and 36 points. That's to lead the NCAA that year. He's named the Rookie of the Year. He makes the first All-Star team, and he's just an absolute stud out there. Then he follows that up in his second year, winning the Big Ten Championship, being named Player of the Year, leading the NCAA in points and goals again. This time, 31 games played and 30 goals, almost went a goal per game, and 52 points. The kid is lights out, and he's very likely also going to win the Hobey Baker Award here for best player in the NCAA. And also, midway through his second NCAA year, he goes to the World Junior Championship, wins gold with the United States with 5 points in 7 games, a big role in that gold medal game, of course. And he was a threat in pretty much every game, really showing off the talent, the skill, the skating ability, and his shooting ability throughout that whole tournament as well. He's a blast to watch, and this is a huge ad by the Montreal Canadiens. However, he has been assigned to the Laval Rocket to start. He also has a 7-day quarantine to complete, and I actually prefer that he'll start with Laval. I think it's important for him to get accustomed and comfortable living in Montreal, and I think it'd be a little bit too much pressure starting his pro career directly with the Montreal Canadiens, who are in a battle right now. I think it's wise for him to go to Laval under Joel Bouchard, who we all know is doing a fantastic job with our prospects so far. I would say give him a 5-game window here just to show what he can do, get comfortable in the pros. He's going to have a lot less time and space with the puck playing professional hockey, and I think it'll take some time for him to adjust to that. But if he's ready after, say, 5 games with Laval, no-brainer to call him up. Now, something I want to point out with Cole Caufield is he is a volume shooter. Just in his final game there in the Frozen Four, I think he had 10 or 11 shots on goal. He did have 2 goals and an assist in that game, but it'll be a little bit different for him in the NHL, where I'm not so sure he can be as much of a volume shooter, because you're going to really want to pick your chances a little bit better in the NHL, and you don't want to turn the puck over just shooting the puck on net on an NHL goalie who's much more likely to make the save, or an NHL defense who's much more likely to stop your shot. So I definitely think there'll be an adjustment period for Cole Caufield here, but I'm so excited to see what he can do out there, and especially see his first goal with the Montreal Canadiens. This would be a massive ad for our team at the NHL level if he is truly ready to go, because we are a team that has a lot of 1-goal losses this year, struggles in overtime, and that could be what puts us over the edge offensively. And it'll be interesting to see eventually who he plays with in Montreal and who will be his center. There's no shortage of options. You got to assume that the Danault, Tatar, Gallagher line stays together. So you're looking at likely Kotkaniemi or Suzuki as his center, or maybe Eric Staal. You never know, that veteran presence. We'll have to wait and see, but I think the playmaking ability of Kotkaniemi or Suzuki could be lights out with a right shot finisher like Cole Caufield, who gets the puck off his stick so fast. He doesn't need any time to release it whatsoever. He can pick corners. I mentioned it in my last video. He'll go 5-hole, 7-hole, top G's. It doesn't matter. The kid is extremely, extremely skilled. And Tony Granato, his coach in Wisconsin of the NCAA, has mentioned that he believes he's NHL ready and took a massive role with Wisconsin this year, playing in all situations and absolutely thrived. Tony said that he gave Cole Caufield as much responsibility as he possibly could, and Cole delivered, and much, much more. So that's extremely, extremely exciting. Now, speaking of the Laval Rocket, they are on a heater right now, 8-1-1 in their last 10 games, 13-4-1 overall for first place in the Canadian division, and they've got a 9-point lead on the team that's chasing behind them. They're probably a very positive locker room right now in Laval, and I think it'd be fun to see him play with guys like Ryan Palin, or maybe even Jake Evans if he, falls down to Laval due to to the Eric Staal pickup. So Joseph Blandisi is leading the Laval Rocket in points right now, an AHL veteran with 15 points in 18 games, having a strong impact there. And then after that, all our prospects are looking really strong too. I'm going to reel them off, and it's impressive. I'm going to point out a couple specifically, and the first is Jesse Alonen, 14 points in 18 games. He's got 7 goals and 7 assists, scoring some absolute snipes and bombs down there for Laval. And this is his pro debut in North America, so that's huge to see him adjust to the smaller ice and look as strong as he has. And then we got Ryan Palin with 5 goals, 8 assists for 13 points in 18 games. This has doubled his scoring pace from last season, so that's great to see with such, a young, important prospect to the Habs, a former first-round pick, really up in his game in Laval, in the middle of the ice. So that is huge. Then we got Joel Teasdale after a long injury, his ACL and MCL, if I'm not mistaken. He was the Mem Cup MVP and an absolute workhorse in the queue prior to his injury. And I was excited for him last year, but now very excited for him, especially that layoff and long time out with that injury has not hindered his development. I was a little bit worried about that, but he's sitting with 6 goals and 6 assists for 12 points. And his shot looks NHL ready. His skating has been very impressive, and he's an absolute workhorse. Then we got Leskinen on defense, looking like probably the best defenseman in the AHL so far this year. 2 goals, 10 assists for 12 points. Looking really strong transitionally up the ice. Lucas Fage-Damo, 4 goals, 5 assists for 9 points, playing in the middle of the ice as well, looking strong. And we got RHP, who is a teammate of Joel Teasdale's with Rouyn Noranda and won the Mem Cup. He was an absolute thorn in the Moosehead side playing with them, and he's having a strong pro debut as well this year. 4 goals, 5 assists for 9 points. Then Josh Brook, turning his development around here, having a strong season, 2 goals, 7 assists for 9 points. So the Laval Rocket are on a roll right now. Lots of support and strong offensive players for Cole Caufield to potentially play with. It'll be fun to watch them play with the addition of Cole and see how long it takes for him to earn his way to the Montreal Canadiens. I absolutely love the decision not to rush Cole to the NHL. I think it'll do wonders for him transitionally into his pro career, not immediately jumping into the spotlight of the Montreal Canadiens. Now, before I move on from the Laval Rocket, goaltending prospect Caden Primo is also having a really strong season. 9-3-0-1 right now with a 2.16 goals against average and a .909 save percentage, making those big saves when they need them, especially late in games, overtime, and the shootout, which the Laval have been in quite a bit so far, and he's passing the test. So that's very good to see as well. He's easily our best goaltending prospect, and hopefully the guy who takes over for Carey Price a few years from now. Next up, Eric Staal has started his 7-day quarantine in Montreal. He met with the media today. He is excited to be a Montreal Canadien. Apparently it hit him as he was making that road trip towards Montreal that he is at the latter stages of his career and he gets an opportunity to play with the Montreal Canadiens and don the CH. Obviously, again, another player, it was his favorite arena to play in as a visitor. Now he gets to be there donning the bleu, blanc, et rouge. This is massive, and I'm really excited for him and what he will bring the Habs on the ice. Now, he is only 3 seasons away from scoring 42 goals at the age of 33 with the Minnesota Wild. He had 42 goals, 34 assists for 76 points. Now, mind you, the following season in 2018-19 dropped off a little bit, but still in a full season, 52 points and 22 goals. Then last season looked really strong as well at a .71 points per game pace with 47 points in 66 games, including 19 goals. That's a 23 goal pace. Then this year, he goes to Buffalo and he struggles like everyone else in Buffalo, it seems. Just has 3 goals this year for them, but I think we're going to get a little more offense out of Eric Staal than what the Buffalo Sabres were getting, and it's got to be pointed out that this is going to be the best team that Eric Staal has played with in a long time. So it'll be interesting to see how he responds, especially joining a team that's in the thick of it of a playoff race. I can't blame the guy for, maybe slacking a little bit in Buffalo where their games had become meaningless, essentially, with that massive losing streak that they had going on. For a guy like Eric Staal, a cup winner, in the latter stages of his career, probably obviously looking to chase a cup. That'd be hard for him. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there and see what he can bring to the Habs. Now, he's not going to be a guy, beating guys with his skating or anything like that, but what he will have is that veteran presence, that poise with the puck, not to panic, especially in tight situations. He's clearly got a strong shot on him, and he just knows where to put the puck to get it into the back of the net, whether it's a tip, a shot low, a shot high, and he's going to have a really strong net front presence for the Montreal Canadiens. He's a big body at 6'4", and he loves to get in front of the goalie for the screens and for those tips and for those dirty goals. So this is a really strong ad for the Habs, and not only that, what he'll bring to us in the face-off circle and in terms of leadership with all the young players on our team. Of course, as a triple Gold Club member, a cup, a world championship, and an Olympic gold medal. So it's another strong leader and former captain added to this Montreal Canadiens roster. I'm really excited to finally see him don the CH. And it's looking like it'll be maybe Saturday or Sunday around then when he'll be able to join the Habs. I'm not sure if they'll hold him out for an extra one so he can practice a bit before joining the team. But yeah, it's definitely going to be exciting to see one of the Staal brothers play for the Habs. Cannot wait for that. Now, there's been a lot of movement by Marc Bergevin here. He's done a great job, really doing his best to make this team as close to a contender as he possibly can. But we're currently sitting with $512,000 in cap space. And I think towards a deadline, because of the way the cap's calculated, it equals out to around $2 million in cap space. But Bergevin likes to have a little bit of a cushion there. But there is the possibility of some more moves. Now, mind you, if there are any moves to be made, it's going to have to be a body in and most importantly, a body out and a contract out, especially if we're looking to add an impact player, maybe a guy like Matthias EKHOLM, who we've talked about immensely, and I think would complete the Montreal Canadiens decor, adding that puck movement to the left side and also be a strong defenseman. So there's him as well, but then maybe a guy like Vince Dunn. I've seen some people bring that up down in the comments from the St. Louis Blues. He's an RFA getting paid $1.875, I do believe. Two or three seasons ago, he had 35 points, and he hasn't been able to get up to that offensive output yet, or again, with the St. Louis Blues, and they are strapped for money. Now, mind you, he's going to need a new contract, and after losing Alex Pietrangelo, you got to think the St. Louis Blues are going to do everything in their power to keep a young guy like Vince Dunn, 24 years old, and strong puck-moving defenseman, and a big guy that can really play the position well. So I have a hard time seeing the Blues giving him up, but could you imagine, getting either one of EKHOLM or Dunn onto the Habs roster? That would just complete our decor on that left side. We need some more puck moving, and it would make the jobs for the forwards that much easier, and it would help our power play immensely, having a guy with a left-handed shot who can pass the puck around, set up those one-timers on the right side of the ice. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But like I said, a body would have to go out here because we're pretty close to the cap right now. Bergevin has mentioned that a lot, and there was talk about Thomas Tatar maybe getting traded to clear some room for Cole Caufield to fit into the Habs top 9. Now, I'm not sure if I'm down for that. I mean, Thomas Tatar led our team in points there a couple years ago. He's still very strong offensively, and he's underrated defensively. Now, he is a UFA, though, so there's a big decision to be made there. Personally, I would consider either Armia or Lehkonen the odd man out. I don't think you really want to, remove offense from your top 9 with if Thomas Tatar's leaving, just to then add Caufield. You then it's a bit of a wash, especially when we don't know for sure what Cole is going to bring in the NHL yet. So personally, I hope we just keep Thomas Tatar as an own rental. I think we can clear cap in a bit better ways than shipping out a guy like that. Like I mentioned, Armia, he's got a couple mil or around there. Lehkonen, same thing. There's Jordan Wheel down in Laval, who's having a good impact as a leader down there in Laval, but he's got, at least a bit counting against our cap right now, and he's not even playing on the NHL squad. So me personally, those are three of the guys I'd look at to clear some space and trade away. Specifically Armia, as much as I like the guy, he's a UFA, and we could lose him for nothing. So, and I think, as a right winger, Cole Caufield could take his spot and add a bit more offensively there. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out, though, for sure. I just don't think a guy like Paul Byron will be the one moved out, just because he's got 2 years after this season at, I think, 3.5 or around there million. It's going to be hard to get a team to take on that contract without us, giving up a very valuable pick in that process. So I don't see it being Paul Byron. I also think it's important to mention that Phil Deneau is a UFA at the end of this year. So a big decision to be made with him. And if the Habs know now they're not going to commit to him, is he the guy that they move out to save some cap space? And, especially where we've just brought in a veteran center in Eric Staal. Now, mind you, I like the Habs center setup right now as it is with Deneau, KK, Suzuki, and now Staal. You've got the two young centers. You got the veterancy in Staal, and then, of course, the defensive ability of Phil Deneau. I really like that setup, especially putting Jake Evans as our extra center. So, I don't know. I really can't see the Habs dealing Phil Deneau, but you never know, especially if they know they're not going to commit to him, and Eric Staal could possibly fill a role there down the middle for the Habs. And you could get a big return for Phil Deneau as well. He wouldn't just be a cap dump for somebody. But let me know what you guys think about that down in the comments. I'm not so sure Phil Deneau would be the odd man out. That he's just, I think he'd be too valuable for a playoff run. You guys will have to let me know who you think would be the body moved out if the Habs do anything more here, to balance the roster out and to maybe bolster the roster as well. Now, to add an impact player, it wouldn't just be an NHL roster player leaving the Montreal Canadiens. We would have to have valuable assets on the table. Now, luckily, the Habs have no shortage of those. Still 12 picks in the 2021 NHL entry draft, including a first and 2 seconds as well. Tons of prospects that could be on the move, specifically left-hand defense prospects. Now, there's Jordan Harris, who recently committed to another year for Northeastern, playing with teammate Jaden Struble, another Habs left-hand defensive prospect. Now, for Jordan Harris, Bergevin seems quite confident he's going to sign with us next year, so it doesn't seem like a guy we'd be looking to move, and he's a very talented prospect for us, drafted in the 3rd round. Jaden Struble, though, a 2nd-round draft pick, maybe he's a guy that could be on the move. Then, of course, there's Matthias Norlander playing out in Europe. So I don't think Montreal's going to want to, or Bergevin's going to want to split up what's going on in Laval right now. I think they want to have a really strong season, make a playoff run. So I could see a guy like Struble or Norlander being one that's on the trade block for the Habs, but we'll have to wait and see. Let me know who you'd be willing to part with in terms of picks or prospects to bring in an NHL impact player for the Habs this season. The deadline's April 12th, so it's crunch time here. Just a few more weeks left, and the big news is that it's now a 7-day quarantine. It helped complete the Staal deal. Now, Caufield only has to quarantine for 7 days. That's massive, but I think we're going to start seeing a lot of teams make some deals here, and once that first domino falls, it's usually, a bunch are going to come, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bunch of trades before the deadline due to that 7-day quarantine and it being a short season. So it's going to be very exciting what happens down the line here. Anyway, Habs hoping to resume on-ice activity tomorrow and possibly play Tuesday against the Edmonton Oilers. Finally, we're going to see some Habs hockey, which I'm sure you guys are hyped for. I know I am after all the movement that we've seen in these last few days here. So it'll be good to get the Habs back on the ice. But while we've been off, the Canadian division has moved on without us. The Leafs on a roll right now, 3-game winning streak. Big comeback win last night against the Edmonton Oilers. Galchenyuk with a couple assists up on the board, including a really nice one between the legs into the slot to set up a goal. Very good. And I've always been hoping Galchenyuk would get his career back on track. It's looking like it could be with the Leafs. Mind you, it was wise what they did, sending him to the AHL with the Marlies. He lit it up in his short stint there, got his confidence back. Then they call him up and immediately put him in the top 6. So that's good development, and I think it was really wise to try and spark Galchenyuk's confidence. Now, mind you, consistency is an issue with him, so we'll have to see how that plays out as well. He could be a defensive liability moving forward. That's the last thing the Leafs need, but nonetheless, good on Galchenyuk getting his career back here so far. And as much as I hate to say it, that he's Toronto Maple Leaf now. It's pretty rough. But the Leafs with a 22-10-2 record, sitting in first place with 46 points. Habs with 3 games in hand on them. The Jets losing a few games here and there, but they're still in second place with a 21-12-2 record for 44 points. Then we got the Oilers at 21-13-1. They were on a roll, 3-game winning streak before they were about to face us, and then a tough loss for them last night. They got 43 points, and we've got 4 games in hand on them as well. Then behind us, we got Calgary and Vancouver doing us some favors while we haven't been playing. Calgary dropping a lot of games, Vancouver as well. Daryl Sutter not looking too happy, but they got a big win last night and they're 2 points behind the Habs. However, Habs with 5 games in hand on them. Same thing with Vancouver. They are 2 points behind us, but we've got 6 games in hand on them. Now, mind you, these games in hand do not matter at all unless the Habs win them. So they got to come flying out of the gate. The schedule that they're going to have now is going to be very difficult. And so Edmonton to start it off. And then after that, who knows what's going to happen, because apparently the Canadian division and that schedule is going to get completely realigned. So we'll have to see when that news breaks. But nonetheless, it'll be great to finally have Habs hockey and our boys back on the ice. Let me know what you thought about any of the topics in this video down in the discussion below. And of course, like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications if you're enjoying this content. Cheers, guys. Go Habs, go, baby. Woo!